Very special guest on the show tonight. Time to welcome in sports original super agent, 8 Hall of Famers he's represented, 60 first-round draft picks. He's had the first pick in the draft as his client 8 times. Leigh Steinberg joins us. Leigh, I know a busy week for you with all your responsibilities on Media Row out in Houston. It's late out there, so we appreciate you coming on. How you doing?
My pleasure. Super Bowl is always an exciting week.
Well, I'm sure it's a blast out there, and it's got to be a lot of fun with all the clients you have as well, who we'll get into here in just a minute. Let's go back, though, to last year. We got a chance to talk to you leading up to Super Bowl week. You were representing Paxton Lynch out of Memphis, winds up going first round to the Broncos. What was that like for you to go through that whole process and finally put pen to ink and be back with a first rounder as a quarterback?
It was very exciting because for the last 40 years, our practice has specialized in role models, players willing to retrace their roots to the high school, collegiate, and professional level and set of programs. Quarterbacks has been a special focus of mine, and it was wonderful to see Paxton. The night of the draft, it was like a gift from heaven because we sat there with Dallas and Kansas City, both trying to trade for him. And it ended up being Denver. So there's nothing quite as exultant as that night where there's tension and anxiety and it all explodes in one euphoric burst.
Well, you had Lynch last year. Now you have 3 quarterbacks on your client list coming up this year. Let's start with Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech. What a prolific career he had at the collegiate level. How did it come about, you two working together?
I met his parents. His father was a longtime relief pitcher in the major leagues. And so I met with them, spent a lot of time with them. He's a consummate role model, very bright. He has got the strongest arm in the draft. He can kneel down at about the 30-yard line and put the ball into the end zone. So he's got a gun for an arm. He's very mobile. He's 6'3", so he's got the requisite size, and he's got a remarkable ability to extend the play and to throw from a lot of different dimensions. So with him, as with any quarterback who's coming out of a spread or an air raid, and that's Jared Goff last year or Paxton Lynch or Mariota the year before, they all have to show that they can do the 3, 5, 7-step drop and take the ball from under center. So that's always a question, but I think he's working very hard to get there, and he'll show that at the combine and then once again at pro scouting day.
Well, you have another quarterback who there's been a lot of interesting talk about, Cooper Rush out of Central Michigan. He actually ran a pro-style offense. He was calling his own plays out there while he was on the field, and apparently he is always the smartest guy on the football field as well. What can you tell us about Cooper?
So Cooper is someone that is so ready to play because his football IQ is really off the charts, and he's got a decent arm. He's really prolific. He's a natural leader, and he's someone that a team's going to have a lot of confidence in, that he can run their offense, that he can do it quick, that'll master the playbook, and he's had a number of years of starting. So, again, I think a team will show some interest, multiple teams in him.
How much do you think it helped, too, with what we saw last year with a guy like Carson Wentz, who sort of came out of nowhere late and became one of the top draft picks and did so good so early in his career with the Eagles? Do you think that helped guys like this from these smaller schools? It
does, but let's be honest. The developmental curve from college to pros is a steep one. And the game's much faster. The degree of separation with wide receivers much more narrow. The ability to actually read the defense and understand what a quarterback's seeing is not there for a while. It only comes over time. So you have occasionally quarterbacks who pick it up very quickly, but in most cases the offense has been altered for them, or in the case of Dak Prescott, as good as he's been, he's behind a line that's like the Great Wall of China. So it still takes time. There's still a developmental process. The Paxton Lynch you'll see this year will be different than the few games he was in last year.
You have a couple of running backs this year as well. One of them's named Jamal Williams, and we saw a couple guys this year, big name guys. Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey decided to skip their bowl game. Didn't want to risk injury, wanted to get ready and start prepping for the combine and the draft. But Jamal, BYU's all-time leading rusher, instead he forges ahead. He was nursing an ankle sprain the last couple of months of the season and winds up rushing for over 200 yards in that bowl game, in the Poiseta Bowl. Was that a conscious decision on his part to say, I want to show everybody one more time what I can do?
Oh, absolutely. And he's a load. He's a big, bruising back that can hit a hole quickly. He's very, very difficult to bring down. You saw in that bowl game, the Holiday Bowl, that he was able to break some. So he's moving quickly up in estimation. He was incredibly productive at BYU. And again, he's a load. If you get hit by him, you may have a few problems getting out of bed the next day.
You also have a running back by the name of Aaron Jones out of UTEP. I think a lot of people know some of the big names. I mentioned Fournette, I mentioned McCaffrey, but a guy who was ahead of them in rushing yards this past year was Aaron Jones, fourth in the country in rushing yards. Right now, probably not as high up as a lot of the names there, but a guy that maybe at the combine could really impress a lot of people and move up. What about his skills and how important is the combine to him?
It's important, and he's doing a great vertical leap right now. But really, you have to see him on the field because he's got the ability to hit a hole quickly and maneuverability and wiggle to him. And he, again, is able to break any run that he's involved in. So he's a great threat, not quite as big as Jamal, but he's a very, very explosive back. And you can use him a lot of different ways, and he can return the kicks, and so I think exemplary work habits. His brother he left behind at UTEP, who's playing defensive secondary, but you'll see him on a roster this year, and you'll see him occasionally make some noise.
You got a USC Trojan and Chad Wheeler, part of your roster as well, but you also got a Bruin. We have some Bruins who definitely want to hear this program. And Jayon Brown, we did a nice piece on him at Pac-12 Network this year about how he's always in a great mood. He's always smiling, uplifting everybody on the team. Actually led the Pac-12 in tackles. A little bit undersized for a linebacker, but he plays so big. Has it been fun representing him?
So with Jayon, if you watch him play on the field, he's got a real nose for the ball. And the reality is that, yes, he's mildly undersized, but when you put him out on the football field, he will go to the ball and make the tackle. And he's very disruptive in that way. He was critical for UCLA this year. He's one of the bright spots they had on their defenses. And I think you're going to see him, it reminds me of some years ago where I had Lance Briggs. Lance Briggs couldn't quite run as fast, didn't get through the combine as well. He just goes out and makes the Pro Bowl the first year. So Jayon is an explosive defensive player who does the big hit spin. He's always where the ball is. Chad Wheeler played for 4 years, started for 4 years at SC. He's number 72. He's right in line with that SC lineage of big, strong offensive tackles, but he's also an athlete. And I think people will be really surprised when they see how limber he is and how much he can move. And he's going to be a fixture on an offensive line for years to come.
What's the hardest thing in this day and age with all that we have, all the access we have, social media and things like that, in preparing these guys to be at their best for the draft and avoiding any pitfalls that may happen between now and the end of April?
It's an understanding, and I try to prepare players really thoroughly, that they're entering a pro game. Anytime they leave their home, anytime they're on social media, they're subject to scrutiny. So it means comporting themselves behaviorally in a perfect way the minute they leave their homes. And it also means restraint with pen and tongue and understanding that this is not just a personal message between the athlete and a friend. It's going out worldwide. You can be on an atoll, some obscure place in the Pacific Ocean, and still get the same Wi-Fi. So the point is that they need to understand this. And if an athlete doesn't want to do this, if they don't want criticism, if they don't want every remark to be scrutinized, if they don't want to graciously interact with fans and writers, then they can go play on a sandlot. But if they want all the largesse that's coming to them, this is the standard that goes for being a pro. So you don't wait for the incident to happen. You prepare the athlete ahead of time so he understands what's happening. We've got all our draft picks here at the Super Bowl this week, and they'll be coming to our Super Bowl party, and it's a fishbowl. So they may not see someone they know, but I guarantee you people will see them and comment on basically anything they do that's aberrational.
Well, we know there's a lot of great parties. All the big networks, sports networks have parties out there Super Bowl week. We got to go to your party last year. We know the best party that was going to happen on Saturday, right?
Thank you. Well, it's the 30th, and so it's a collection. The Super Bowl has become a convention Americana. Big business, big politics, big sports, big entertainment, all wrapped up into 1 week. So we do something which is philanthropic or humanitarian awards, where this year it'll be the owner Clark Hunt of the Chiefs and the executive Rick Smith of the Houston Texans. It'll be the coach Bruce Arians of the Arizona Cardinals, the current player Steve Smith Sr. of Baltimore. It will be a retired player Warren Moon, and the all-time award handed out bright light by BBVA will be for Earl Campbell. So we feed them for their heart, for their social conscience, for what they do for people off the field. So it's always a lot of fun in an iconic place. It's a daytime party, and it's a place with ambient enough noise that people can actually have a conversation.
Well, we got to experience it last year. We had a great time. And Leigh, we appreciate you coming on. You've been a good friend to us here, and continued success. Enjoy the rest of the week out there in Houston, and good luck with all these players. We'll be following them along the way.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care. Leigh Steinberg joining us here on the program. Draft coming up at the end of April. We'll have more on these players as we get closer to the NFL draft. We'll see you soon.